It's January 29th. Welcome to YesToHellWith.com. If you want to understand what a lawful federal excise tax actually looks like, you start with one where Congress puts everything out in the open. That example is the federal excise tax on air transportation. The taxing statute is 26 U.S.C. 4261. This is not enforcement. This is not procedure. This is the levy itself. 26 U.S.C. 4261 states, in general, there is hereby imposed upon the amount paid for taxable transportation of any person a tax equal to 7.5% of the amount so paid for such transportation. That sentence alone matters. Congress does not suggest a tax. Congress does not imply a tax. Congress says plainly, there is hereby imposed. That is a lawful levy. The statute then continues and adds, quote, domestic segments. In the case of taxable transportation, which begins and ends in the United States, there is hereby imposed a tax of $3.90 for each domestic segment of such transportation, end quote. Then Congress defines the scope. 26 U.S.C. 4261C, taxable transportation. For purposes of this section, the term taxable transportation means transportation by air, which begins or ends in the United States. Nothing vague, nothing assumed. The taxable event is fully defined. Now comes the most important part, the part most tax statutes avoid, and that is who is liable. 26 U.S.C. 4261D states, quote, by whom paid. The taxes imposed by this section shall be paid by the person making the payment for such transportation, end quote. That is the liable party. Not citizens, not residents, not United States persons, not taxpayers by presumption. The person who pays for the airline ticket pays the tax. No payment, no tax. No ticket, no tax liability. Now let's look at the Liberty Dialogue's analysis. This statute passes every Liberty Dialogue's requirement cleanly and honestly. Number one, authority. Congress has undisputed authority to regulate interstate and international air transportation, tax activities occurring within federally regulated airspace, impose authority. Congress has undisputed authority to regulate interstate and international air transportation, tax activities occurring within federally regulated airspace, impose excises on transportation. Authority is explicit and constitutional. 2, jurisdiction. Jurisdiction does not arise by status. It arises by voluntary conduct. You buy airline transportation. You enter a federally regulated commercial domain. Jurisdiction attaches. No purchase, no jurisdiction. No jurisdiction, no tax. This is not coercion. It's a choice. Number 3, status. Notice what Congress does not do. It does not ask who you are, ask where you were born, ask for residency, ask for citizenship. Why? Because this is a transaction-based excise, not a status-based excise tax. Your status is temporary and provable. You are a purchaser of taxable air transportation. That is enough. Number 4, obligation. Only after the taxable event occurs, jurisdiction is triggered by conduct, and the party liable is identified, does obligation arise. Not penalties, not enforcement, obligation. That is the correct order. Authority, jurisdiction, status, and obligation. This matters because this is what lawful federal taxation looks like. The tax is clearly imposed by Congress. The taxable event is clearly defined. The liable party is explicitly named. Jurisdiction is voluntary and limited. No human being is taxed by existence. No status is presumed. Now compare that with systems where status is presumed, jurisdiction is implied, definitions are skipped, obligation is asserted first. That is not taxation, that is presumption, and it is fraud. Now, let's look at the Liberty Dialogue's core statement on this. The Liberty Dialogues does not reject federal taxation. It rejects taxation without structure. The airline excise tax is legitimate because Congress imposed it openly, confined it narrowly, and tied liability to voluntary participation in a federally regulated activity. That is law done correctly, and that is the benchmark every claimed tax should and must meet. And as always, may truth reign supreme.